Quite a challenging task, talk between you and your lunch. Quite delayed again. And also quite challenging after such a talk by Atul. Probably one of the analogies and the continuation and a part of a connection that I can only see from the previous one and my talk is that Sophia is going to visit Andhra Pradesh on 23rd October for a fintech festival we're organizing at Visakhapatnam. Some of you are interested to come and actually propose her, like Atul was mentioning, propose for a love or a marriage, maybe you will come. On that note, thanks for having me here. Quite a nice show put up, I think great halls. I've been to some of the halls as well. So I represent government of Andhra Pradesh. The introduction says I'm an entrepreneur business consultant. I was before I joined the government. So pretty much I'm now work for the government of AP. I do not know, it keeps happening to me many times. I go and talk out of the state, people still talk about Hyderabad, talk about things, what we have done in Hyderabad with me and people who represent government of AP. To set the context, this state has got bifurcated 4 years back. In 2014, Hyderabad belongs to Telangana, and we do have cities which may not be as big as Bangalore's and Chennai's and Hyderabad's, but we do have some of them to talk about. The coastal one is on Vizag. I'm sure most of you know Tirupati is another well-known destination globally. And then we have one more, which is we're going to be talking about as Amaravati being one of the next sought after cities in the globe. So Amaravati, which is the capital city of Andhra Pradesh. So with the context of AP, my talk predominantly focuses on the importance of analytics by government of AP, what kind of challenges we face and how are we working around it, and what is that we've created in the state of AP. So with the context of Andhra Pradesh, if you look at, like I said, we don't really have large economic generators in cities and things like that. And looking at how the global economy is changing, last 10 years, all of us know it's a data-driven economy. It's the economy that has been almost driven by companies which are less than 20 years, which are driven by data, information. That's how the economy is globally changing. So as a part of a journey, as a part of the vision, it's quite an obvious thing for us to look at how are we going to embrace this technology, embrace this analytics, and so on and so forth. With the context of Andhra Pradesh, if you look at how we embraced analytics is something very, very interesting that we've done, which is globally lauded, in fact, which is globally lauded, recognized, where we bring in something called real-time governance. Our Honorable Chief Minister, in fact, pioneered the way analytics can be used to solve problems of the people in the state in real time. Right from predicting the loads of the power supply required, or right from the predicting the weather conditions and helping farmers to intimate in time. There's no delay, it's a real time. And also using a predictive analytics for logistics and road transport. In fact, we use it for potholes. So if you talk about everything, everything that is a part of administration by the government, we've been able to embrace the analytics and we've been able to use the technology to bring in the real-time governance. So one of the major things that we keep talking about are, from the state of AP is that we want to have invisible government, but visible governance. So that has been the mantra. By using analytics, how do we sort of make a state, and keeping analytics as a focus, how do we take the state forward with the socio-economic development in a larger context, and also largely with administration. So that is one part of it. So if you're looking at building something like that in a state like Andhra Pradesh, in a new state, for the matter of the fact, we know that in the country itself, there are some of the challenges that we've seen in the recent past is about how do we get right people to work on such kind of projects? How do we get people who are experts in these areas, in these technologies, especially in analytics? How do we get people work with us so that the vision and the goals and the targets that we want to do with respect to real-time governance. How do we want, how to reach all of this, right? So one of the challenges that we all know, there is a whole lot of the gap between the way the technology is fast changing so quickly, and at the same time the amount of talent available for working in those such companies. So that has become a huge gap, all of us know that. But that context, if you look at as a state, it's one of the difficult parts is that being a tier 2 and tier 3 cities is very difficult to attract talent to come and work there. That is one part of it. Another part of it is that how are we going to forget about attracting talent from outside? How do we ensure the students from these places or the talent from these places don't go out of the places, right? That's one part of it. But there's always a flip side of it. The positive side of being in a tier 2, tier 3 cities, you have lots of problems to solve, and then people who really want to solve problems, whether it's students and entrepreneurs. I think it's a great platform. I think it's a great playground for all of them to actually go and test their ideas and convert their ideas and implement prototypes and things like that. So on a positive flip side of it. So when we having such kind of context with our state, one of the things that we've observed is that if we have to grow as a state, while I talk about how socio-economic development administration is so important, and at the same time the analytics is being into it, at the same time, how do we also create jobs, right? Unless we get more companies into come and set up in Andhra Pradesh and so on and so forth, it's going to be difficult for us to obviously create, again, a kind of an economic generators, right, in the state itself. So with that context, if you look at it, how do we look at the last 10 years as largely new companies and analytics and data-driven companies are the ones which are growing. If you look at the number of jobs created by these companies in the last 10 years is huge, whether it's Ola, Ubers, any of these companies which are completely data and analytics-driven and technology-driven companies. These are number of jobs that have created at large, right, compared to any of these older organizations in terms of the number the last 10 years. So one of the things that we've thought is in the state is that if we have to make our talent pool very, very relevant. We have to make our talent pool very relevant. Not only just making them relevant, we should make them most wanted people in the globe. If we make them most wanted people in the globe, I think that probably attracts a lot of companies which are analytics and a lot of projects which are very innovative projects that can come and set up in AP, that can come and actually give an opportunity for talent pool. With that context, is one of the very unique and innovative way of creating an institution has been thought out. So that was called International Institute of Digital Technologies. I don't know how many of you have been, since yesterday, there are 2 days, there is a kiosk number 16 and 17, quite opposite to the gents' restroom. There's a stall about International Institute of Digital Technologies. So the International Institute of Digital Technologies, the vision and the focus was how do we create people for today and for tomorrow, right? So we picked up some of the very key areas. The cybersecurity, analytics. In fact, today we offer a postgraduate program in cybersecurity, and we offer a postgraduate program in business analytics. Besides that, we have a lot of things yet to be launched, of course, in the blockchain and IoT and things like that. But one of the unique pieces for IIDT is not about the courses that we've launched. It's the model how we actually embrace to run this institution. It is initiated by Government of AP. Administration is also by Government of AP, but completely supported by the industry. Classes are taught by the industry experts, right? What we've seen as a major challenge with the talent pool is that what companies think and what students think they want is quite very different, right? So we thought instead of having a age-old model of having theory classes and having professors in full-time, instead we thought, how can we create a lot more interaction with industry people, right? So most of the classes, 70% of the classes, though we do have in-house professors and things like that, but a lot of classes which are conducted in these areas by industry experts. There's one more element to it. Not only the relevance that industry expert brings in, it's also the element of inspiration that this expert or the company CEO, whoever is taking the class, brings into the class, right? What is missing in the talent pool today that we've observed is just not about coming and actually teaching you a class and teaching you a concept. It's also more than that, right? You should be able to sort of inspire and make them interest and aspire towards that area. So we thought bringing such industry experts, people from the industry, would actually bring that element. So what we've done with that element, we've also added something to it beyond classroom interactions, beyond this flip side classroom interactions as classes. We also added mentorship as one of the major elements in the IIDT program. So the mentorship works. So each expert or the industry trainer can adopt few people, can mentor them as long as they want in their interest area. So students are given complete flexibility, and students are apparently given their liberty to choose their mentors, liberty to choose mentors more than one area. And apparently some of the batches that had passed out, they're still in touch with mentors. I think that we've seen the results that are coming out as phenomenal, right? So with respect to that, what we intend to do is that how we creating this, by creating this talent pool. And moreover, I forgot to tell you, this is all 1 year program. It's like very quick program where the students get to interact all of this, and students also get to do a lot of other stuff. So by doing this 1 year program, the idea is to make the talent pool quickly and readily available. It's not that they need to wait for 2 years. In fact, the program starts, and by the 6th month or 7th month or 8th month of this program, in fact, they can actually sit for placements and start talking to the industry people. They can be recruited and so on and so forth. And not only that, I think most of the people given access to do live projects. Another thing that we've also observed is that we keep talking about the so-called layers that are created around our talent pool in the country. Most of the layers, we've heard it a lot. People say they're not employable and things like that, right? So what we thought, we would create also a sense of competition through hackathons, right? So what we've done is we do a regular hackathons where the students participate. One of the beauty of hackathons is that we've realized we give them a problem statement, and also you actually introduce to them a concept which they should be using to solve the problem. Let it be IoT, let it be cybersecurity, whichever. You take them, introduce and give them a orientation on the fundamentals and also the tools of that particular area, and give them a problem statement, challenge them for 48 hours or 36 hours or whatever the hackathon is planned for. And we've seen the students actually coming out and solving the problems. And the beauty is that when we started interacting with students, some of the students came forward and said that first time I started pushing my thinking beyond my limits. They pushed themselves because they know they've got only 48 hours to solve the problem or 36 hours to solve the problem. In fact, some of the students, went beyond during that 36 hours, started interacting with the mentors on the same time and sending the solutions and working all day and night. They ate and slept and drink with those solutions and throughout that for 36 and 48 hours. I think the model of hackathons, in fact, worked really well in bringing the best out of these guys, right? So the IIDT concept, what we've created, is just a journey that has begun where, like I said, we've in fact had a lot of partnerships from the industry. So it's a journey that we believe that it's a lot to do with collaboration. The journey that we thought it's a lot to do with collaboration, right? The more the industry partners, I think the larger the scope for us to go forward and do it better. And we were looking at making it as unique as possible in terms of the model of the university, and keeping it maybe on the lines of thinking like singularities and bringing in MOOCs and all of it. I think we're trying to see the best of the models that are available in the world and bringing together, right? That is one part of it. Another challenge with what we've also seen as a student talent pool, like I talked about a mentorship, this is a new model, this is a new initiative that we've taken up in Andhra Pradesh, is that very interesting thing is, like I said, we need to attract new companies to state. We've initiated something called Look for Employees in Andhra Pradesh. So we thought we would invite one of those very growing companies to come and recruit and so on and so forth, right? But when these very growing and very young companies coming and recruiting, there is this whole gap that we've seen. The student who is not really aware of that company. It could be 3 years or 5 years old, which is pretty well known, and then in the particular industry circles, but not a well known, mass medium, right? So we have seen these very interesting case studies where students taking up jobs in very older, not older, but in large corporations with less packages, but not a very challenging role, while they also have offers from pretty much new and growing companies and interesting roles. and the most relevant technologies for today. So when we started interacting with some of the students, students were told I was not able to take this decision because my parents were involved to make this decision. My parents wanted to join this company, right? The large corporation, because parents are more comfortable for them to go to a large corporation instead of going them. In fact, if I can mention, one of those companies, students rejected an offer as a Byju's, which offered about a very good package for students, probably for 100% more than the offer that was made by a large corporation. So we thought so how much I do to initiatives through IIDT with the students, with the industry, if there is still a parent who's, if I'm not able to address through a mass medium, I think we're going to be left out unless we really create this aspiration and unless we really tell them this is one of the most sought after career options for the kids, that I think we're going to lose out, because parents are still making a very important part of a decision making as far as the career is concerned for these kids. So what we thought, how do we solve this problem? So we thought, let us involve again the industry partners. Like we have a lot of industry partners, like I talked about, through IIDT, and we involve many of these mentors and industry partners from IIDT. We also extended it to some other colleges, where we thought the students from one side, they sit like this, and there's a bunch of CEOs and entrepreneurs and industry experts who are industry partners sit on one side, right? And they keep on interacting about the new technologies and so on and so forth. And this is recorded by a television, a very familiar regional television. It is recorded. After 2.5 hours, this interaction between a bunch of students and these industry experts, right? This afternoon after lunch, again, these guys go and adopt 15 or 20 people. And all of this process is recorded by a television, goes on to a mainstream television on a Friday evening between 8 and 9, which is again a prime time. In fact, Friday 9 to 10, in fact, just recently changed. So through that, every kid who has participated here, probably who knows their parents are watching. And we've seen some amount of change in their thinking and aspiration levels about how they should be part of discussions in making their career, in making their kids' decision making for taking up jobs. All right. Why we've taken up, again, like I said, why we wanted to do all this, like I said, for a state like us, if we have to be catching up with the economy, and then if we want to be the one of the top economies in the country and in the globe, I think the way we have to embrace is about what's happening pretty much in the global economy with the data-driven analytics and information-driven economy and so on and so forth, right? So ideally, unless we are making every effort of changing aspirations of students and the stakeholders of students and also other talent pool, also the talent pool, then we are not going to have great carrot for any companies to come. So we want to create that carrot, right? So we thought one of the most important is the talent pool. So with such initiatives, IIDT is just a beginning, but then a long way to go. In fact, some of the students at IIDT do, in fact, travel to Forensic University. Mainly the cybersecurity students go and spend a lot of time there and get the real time. The entire program is a lot more real time than it's theoretical. So the IIDT has become one of the examples for all institutions in the state, which is the beauty of it. Today, I think it's been about 2.5 years journey and 2 years journey for IIDT, and today IIDT model is being replicated in other institutions, which is very beautiful case study that we've seen. Apparently, we've also heard about IIDT model is being replicated in some universities, some colleges in Gujarat recently, and few in closer to Madras. So where they've realized it's more important in terms of how the industry interaction should happen, right? With that context, I think we will welcome as many as stakeholders to be part of our journey with the IIDT, and otherwise in a larger journey of the state of Andhra Pradesh's journey, right? And there's another connotation that I wanted to add to this. When we talk about positioning ourselves, we thought it is very important to pick up the niche positioning, or it's very important for us to talk about, which is very relevant area as far as global growth areas are concerned. So we thought the fintech is a very important area. So fintech, we've seen in the last 5 years, I think pretty much it's reached almost all the last miles of the country, right, through consumer technologies. Otherwise, even you look at on a commercial and the corporate level, I think the fintech has been pretty much out there implemented both at business to government levels and government to government levels and business to customer levels, and every level there's been a fintech that has come into picture now. So the fintech journey for Andhra Pradesh again has been 2 years. It's almost started simultaneously with IIDT. We've named one of the cities as a fintech valley. That's called Vizag Fintech Valley. Like I've in fact started my talk saying that Sofia is going to be there for one of the fintech festivals. So one of the major things that we have done through fintech is that, again, attract companies, at the same time attract talent pool, right? Attract talent pool. So IIDT has become one of the pillars for us to promote fintech globally. For example, if I go and talk about a niche area like a fintech valley, you come and set up here and so on and so forth. But if they ask for a talent pool, we've talked about IIDT. So IIDT has become one of the major pillars for the entire, promotion and the entire proposition that we are talking across the globe, as far as whether it's fintech or whether it's cybersecurity. In fact, we're one of the pioneers in cybersecurity in the state as well, right? So with that context, I think pretty much Andhra Pradesh is on its toes, and probably we think we are in the right direction in terms of creating a talent pool, which is more important as we talk about becoming the superpower in the world. At the same time, we're talking about we're implementing right technologies, embracing right technologies, right? In fact, one of our Pushkarams, I don't know how many of you know, 12 years, every 12 years there's a huge festival that happens, so-called Pushkaram, is majorly manned and driven by analytics and the crowd management and so on and so forth. With drones, the drones pushes captures the real-time data of the crowd pulling together, and then it also is connected back-end, and so that the crowd management can happen. So we actually implemented a lot of these things in real. In fact, there's a dashboard that we talk about, Honorable Chief Minister's dashboard. In fact, anybody can log onto the dashboard and see how many lights are on, how many lights are off, whether the water supply is there in a particular area, what is the level of the water, and so on and so forth. It's actually open for a common man to look at it. And not only that, I think every access that customer to government, people to government, whatever they want to access, whether it is procuring a simple certificate like a birth certificate, or procuring a ration, or you talk about anything that matters, which is as small as thing or as big as procuring a land documents, we are out there. In fact, we can actually say more than 50% of many of these interactions between the government and people had become automatized to technology, and also we've brought in a lot of analytics into it. So with that context, I think it's a journey that in the last 4 years apparently has been lot happened. I mean, a lot of things happened thanks to the partners who are involved, and thanks to all the key people who played, key people from the industry across the country and across the globe who played a role in advising and ensuring that things are executed. And we look forward for more support, and we look forward for more stakeholders in the journey.